Prologue. One woman lived by the law, the other broke it for beauty. Amara Kamau was the lawyer who believed in order, clean lines, contracts, and control. She wore restraint like silk, every breath measured, every move contained. Then came Tasha Koi, an artist of chaos, painting rebellion across Nairobi's streets. Her gaze on Amara was brazen, threatening to unleash the blaze beneath Amara's regal poise, make Amara's rules come undone. A case made them adversaries, yet the spark between them burned on, unbidden, unwanted, unstoppable. Chapter 1. The morning sun slipped between Nairobi's towers like a blade, scattering gold across glass and steel. From the 24th floor, Amara Kamau could see everything, highways threading through the city, towers jostling for sky, and the endless hum of traffic far below. She liked this height. It made the noise feel distant, manageable, almost polite. Her office smelled faintly of sandalwood and coffee, imported beans, brewed exactly the way she liked them. Heels kicked off, jacket still immaculate, she reviewed a contract. Her phone buzzed, pulling her attention. "There's been an incident," her assistant said. "A client's building in Westlands. Graffiti activists. Media's already there." Amara's jaw tightened. She hated surprises. She checked her watch, then grabbed her bag and phone. 10 minutes later, she was in her silver Audi, weaving through the morning jam like the city itself paused for her. Billboards, matatus, street vendors. Nairobi moved at its chaotic rhythm, but she'd learned to dance to it in heels and legal briefs. As she neared the new development, a crowd had gathered, murmuring and pointing, phones raised. On the pristine white wall of Luyanda Holdings, a woman's face stared back at her. Black curls untamed, wrists breaking free from painted chains. Across the bottom, a signature in bold, Nyota. Amara's pulse hitched. The mural was, infuriatingly, achingly beautiful. She stepped out, heels sinking slightly into dust. The police were already there, holding the young woman between them. "Who's in charge?" Amara demanded. "Madam, this is the suspect," said the officer, caught in the act. "Tasha Koi, a.k.a. Nyota," he added. The suspect lifted her chin. Their eyes met. Defiant, mocking, calm in a way that startled Amara. "You're with the vultures, huh?" Tasha said. "Tell your client they built on stolen ground." Amara's palm flexed. "You defaced private property? And they erased a community?" Tasha shot back, eyes flashing, cameras flashed. The air felt hotter, charged with friction. "Officer, take her in." As Tasha was led away, Amara's gaze lingered on the mural, the way color bled into the concrete like protest into history. She didn't understand why it bothered her that the woman behind it wasn't afraid, or why she couldn't stop thinking about those eyes. Chapter 2. That evening, Amara's office felt colder, stripped of the morning's golden light. Mr. Sabila, the firm's senior partner, paced. "We need this handled quietly, Amara. The developer is nervous. Bad press will ruin their launch. Make sure she signs a plea deal. 2 weeks of community service. Then it's done." "Yes, sir," Amara said, though her stomach twisted. He left, and she was alone with the skyline bleeding orange into glass. Community service, a plea for silence. She had spent years building a reputation on control. Contracts, settlements, everything neat and sealed. But the mural, the anger in those colors, it refused to leave her mind. She poured another coffee, black and bitter, trying to drown the image of Tasha's eyes. Too alive, too accusing. Amara shook her head. She told herself it was just distraction. The city below hummed like a reminder she couldn't ignore. Later that evening, across town, the night pulsed with music and fumes. A go-down in industrial area smelled of wet asphalt, diesel, and turpentine. Tasha was perched on its rooftop, bare feet dangling above the hum of traffic. Below, spray cans rattled in her duffel bag. "You're lucky the cops let you out on police bail," said Jay, her fellow artist. "That lawyer looked like she eats people for breakfast," Tasha snorted. "Yeah, well, maybe she's just not used to anyone saying no." She could still see Amara in her mind, pressed suit, smooth voice, eyes that could cut through lies. She hated that kind of woman, the ones who believed they could fix the world with contracts and cash. But something about her had been interesting, not just the power but the sadness underneath, like she'd forgotten how to breathe unless she was working. She sighed. Anyway, it's too early to celebrate. I still have to appear in court and defend the stupid charges. You will also have to convince court to let you out on court bail. Our system is so messed up, man, Jay remarked. Tasha shook her head, grabbed a can of paint and let the color hiss into the wall. Red, blue, black. The Nairobi skyline burned at the edges, hands reaching from the flames. Her world was messier, louder, real. She liked it that way. Chapter 3. The next morning, the courtroom smelled of dust and stale air. Sunlight sliced through narrow windows, illuminating floating particles like tiny sparks. Tasha stood in the dock, chin high, shoulders squared. Her lawyer was nowhere to be seen. Amara entered moments later, heels clicking, briefcase gleaming, every inch composed. When their eyes met, the world narrowed. The hum of fans, shuffling papers, the low murmur of lawyers, gone. Miss Koi, Amara said, sitting across from her. My client is willing to offer a plea deal. I'm not pleading to something I didn't do, Tasha responded. You were caught painting the wall, Amara pointed out. Silence. Amara sighed. Frustration, disbelief, a flicker of something else. You do realize this attitude isn't helping your case. Tasha leaned forward. And you do realize your client's company stole that land from the Riverbend families? Or do you only read what fits your briefs? The words hit harder than Amara expected, jaw tightening, spine straightening. This isn't about politics. Everything in Nairobi is about politics, Tasha said softly, like a challenge. For a heartbeat, neither looked away. Then the magistrate walked in and the court was called to order. The spell between the two women broke, but something unspoken lingered, pulsing like static electricity. Just then, Tasha's public defender barged into court, muttering apologies. In his ill-fitting rumpled suit, her was a stark contrast to Amara's crisp lines, laser focus and composure. The bail hearing was brief, but barbed. Amara stood for the prosecution, spine straight, voice cool and precise. Your Honor, the accused was apprehended at the scene, defacing property belonging to my client, Luyanda Holdings. We object to her release pending further investigation and determination of this case. Across the courtroom, Tasha leaned against the dock rail, unrepentant. She's an artist, not a criminal, her defense lawyer muttered, half-heartedly. Tasha's eyes found Amara's, steady, unreadable, burning with something that made the air shift. Amara continued, ignoring the way her pulse betrayed her. If granted bail, there's reasonable risk she'll reoffend. Tasha smiled faintly, the kind of smile that knew exactly what it was doing. Maybe I already do, she murmured under her breath. Amara froze. The whisper wasn't meant for the court, only for her. The magistrate scribbled furiously, penning down his ruling. Bail granted, bond is set at 50,000 shillings. Next case. Tasha's grin widened as she turned to leave, tossing one last glance at Amara over her shoulder. That evening, Amara sat in her car outside her apartment. City noise muted behind tinted glass. Her pulse still raced. She'd faced worse defendants, violent, arrogant, uncooperative. But none had ever gotten under her skin like Tasha. She thought of the artist's sharp eyes, the fire in her voice. She hated that she admired her, hated more that she understood her. Because under all that chaos, Tasha still believed in something real. And Amara, for all her control, couldn't remember the last time she did. City lights flickered across her face like ghosts of color. Something had shifted. She just didn't know how deep the crack would run. Chapter 4. The message came on a Wednesday afternoon. Good afternoon. This is to request you to avail yourself for plea discussion tomorrow. The case in question being the City of Nairobi versus Tasha and Jerry. Tasha read it twice. It wasn't from her lawyer. She'd fired him the day after the bail hearing. This one was from Luyanda's lawyer, Amara Kamau. It was formal, precise, the digital version of a raised eyebrow. Tasha glanced at her cracked phone again, chuckled, and typed back. Sure, counsel. But your client's the thief, not me. 15 minutes later, another ping. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. My office. Bring your court file. No pleasantries, pure lawyer tone. Still, Tasha couldn't shake the feeling she'd just agreed to a rematch she wanted to lose. The next morning, Nairobi shimmered in the sun. Uptown, glass towers glinted against the sky. Inside one, Amara's office smelled of leather and quiet power. Tasha walked into the building, paint still under her fingernails. Security eyed her like a warning sign. When Amara appeared in the lobby, the contrast was almost theatrical. Tailored navy suit, calm voice, every movement measured. Ms. Koi, she said, thank you for coming. Tasha grinned. Lawyer in her natural habitat. Amara's jaw flexed. Let's keep this professional. She led Tasha into the meeting room. Beyond the glass, Nairobi lay sprawled with its highways, cranes, and traffic. Tasha dropped into a chair, casual, legs crossed. So what's this about? Another deal for silence? The plea remains on the table, Amara replied. Community service, restitution, no jail time, Tasha scoffed. And an admission of guilt for something trivial while your client gets away with atrocities. Amara inhaled through her nose. My job isn't to decide guilt. It's to apply the law. Funny, Tasha said softly. You talk about law like it's not already for sale. Amara leaned back into her seat, jaw flexing. When the conversation drifted toward motives, things cracked even further. You really believe your client's innocent? Tasha asked, voice dripping with disdain. My belief isn't part of the job. Facts are, Amara said. Facts, Tasha repeated, leaning forward, voice shaking, like the family's Luyanda threw out last week. Amara stiffened. You're representing yourself, Ms. Koi. You'll need composure if you want credibility, she said coolly. And you'll need a conscience, Tasha shot back. Amara gathered her files with mechanical precision, her patience on edge. That will be all. A pause. A flash of something. Heat, anger, maybe admiration, flickered between them. When Tasha stood to leave, Amara said quietly, If you want a real shot at staying out of jail, you'll take the plea. Tasha stopped at the door. If you want a real shot at sleeping at night, you'll stop defending thieves. The door shut. The scent of spray paint and mild jasmine lingered. Amara sat still for a long time, then finally exhaled. Her pulse shouldn't be this fast. Chapter 5. A week later, Amara once again tried getting Tasha to agree to a plea deal. Tasha's response was brief, almost surgical in tone. I received your email, counsel. Please tell Luyanda I'm still not interested in their blood-stained plea bargain. Typical, Amara thought. Against her better judgment. She drove to the old industrial district where Tasha's art collective kept a studio. She told herself it was official. To deliver legal correspondence. After all, she'd swayed tougher clients, bent sharper minds. So why was Tasha the one she couldn't seem to move? The building was a repurposed warehouse, its walls alive with paint and protest. Inside, sunlight spilled across unfinished murals. Tasha looked up from a canvas, surprised. Counsel, you came all the way from your glass tower to... What? She said, looking at Amara's outstretched arm. You're here to hand me mail? I'm flattered. Consider this due process, Amara said. Tasha wiped paint from her hands, eyes glinting. Due process, huh? Want a tour while you're here? Amara hesitated. I shouldn't... Then don't call it a tour. Call it research, Tasha said, taking the paperwork. Amara followed her through the maze of color and concrete, photographed murals of bulldozed homes, mothers with eviction papers, children playing in ruins. Each wall shouted something the courts had ignored. This is what your clients buy and bury, Tasha said quietly. Amara's throat tightened. Her voice softened just barely. You can't keep doing this. Tasha, they'll come for you again. I'm not the one who should be afraid. You're not helping your case. Amara persisted. Neither are you, Tasha replied. Their eyes met. The air suddenly felt fragile. They stood close, breathing the same charged air. For a second, neither moved. The distance between them felt thinner than the law should permit. Before Amara could respond, there was noise outside. Shouts, the slam of car doors. Chapter 6. What came next happened fast. Sirens, boots, police stormed the entrance, city inspectors trailing behind. Tasha cursed. They're raiding for the mural at City Hall, the one I was just warning you about. These mural photographs will be taken as evidence if they come in here, but don't run. That'll make it worse, Amara hissed. I don't have time for speeches, counsel. Tasha shot back, eyes darting about. Officers shoved their way closer to the entrance. Shouting orders, Amara's instinct took over. She rushed to the entrance, Tasha trailing close behind. Wait, Amara snapped, stepping forward, badge of authority flashing in her tone. Officers, I'm Amara Koi, advocate for Luyanda Holdings. This property is under review and ongoing litigation. You can't enter or search it without a warrant. The officer blinked. Counsel? You represent her? A junior officer grabbed Tasha's arm. Yes, Amara lied smoothly. They hesitated. Confused. Unsure, Tasha stared, stunned. The officers exchanged looks, uncertain. Call your supervisor, Amara continued, calm but commanding. You'll find that this falls outside your jurisdiction. Finally, they released Tasha with a warning and left. When the door slammed shut, the silence was electric. You lied for me, Tasha whispered. Amara exhaled. I prevented an unlawful arrest. Semantics, Tasha said, smiling slowly. Still, thank you. Amara turned toward her. Don't thank me. This can't happen again. Tasha stepped closer, holding Amara's wrist. You risked your job for me. Don't flatter yourself. The taller woman retorted, voice trembling, betraying the truth underneath. This world of yours, Tasha said, voice low. All rules and titles. Do you ever stop to feel anything? Amara's breath hitched. She opened her mouth, then shut it, turned on her heel, into her car, and left the premises. Later that night, Amara sat in her apartment, replaying the raid. The lie. The way Tasha's hand and words had felt. Warm, paint-smudged, human. She told herself what she felt was guilt. That her actions had been about ethics, damage control for her client. But she knew better. Across town, Tasha painted through the storm. A new mural, 2 hands reaching through bars of glass. Beneath it were the words, "Even walls crack." Chapter 7. The week passed quietly until a message from the court registry arrived. The Luyanda case was set for mention to confirm witness statements. As Amara reviewed the file, a few gaps caught her eye. Missing evidence, incomplete site notes. It shouldn't have mattered, yet the omissions pulled her back to the case, and to the artist who couldn't seem to leave her thoughts. Then came an email from the investigating officer. Tasha had been seen at Luyanda's Westlands premises. The same one she is accused of vandalizing. That was a possible breach of the bail terms. Amara told herself she was going to warn her, to keep the case clean. But beneath the logic, something else stirred. Worry, curiosity, and something she refused to name. She found the warehouse quiet, almost reverent. Inside, Tasha was crouched over a half-finished mural, paint-streaked and lost in her music. When she noticed Amara at the door, Tasha's surprise softened into a wary smile. You again, she said. Didn't expect corporate royalty today, she teased, wiping her hands on a paint-smeared rag. Amara raised an eyebrow. You're not supposed to be at the Luyanda building yesterday, Tasha. Good thing you're here then, Tasha said softly, stepping closer. To save me from myself. Amara crossed her arms, holding her composure like a shield. You're violating your bail conditions. That place is part of the evidence record. Tasha wiped her hands on a rag, unbothered. Technically, I wasn't painting on any wall. I went to take photos of those murals. What you might call collection of evidence. Is that wrong, counsel? She smirked. Technically, Amara said, the court doesn't care about your artistic loopholes. A grin tugged at Tasha's lips. You came all the way here to say that? Amara hesitated. The warehouse smelled of turpentine and wet paint, the air heavy with color and defiance. "I came because," she said finally, "you're about to make things worse for yourself. Again." Tasha tilted her head, studying her. "You worry too much for someone who calls me a criminal." "I'm a lawyer," Amara replied, voice cool. "It's my job to prevent disasters." Tasha stepped closer, her tone softer now. "Then maybe that's why you're here. To stop me before I become one." Her brown eyes lifted to Amara's darker ones. For a moment, neither spoke. The distance between them shrank to something thin and charged. Too small for logic, too heavy for words. "You think I don't see what this case is doing to you?" Tasha murmured. "That you're still defending people who build towers on bones?" Amara's breath caught. "It's not that simple." "It never is," Tasha said, moving closer, voice low, almost tender. "You keep fighting for order, and I keep fighting for chaos. Maybe we're both just trying to breathe." Amara should have left. Instead, she found herself tracing the paint on Tasha's cheek with her gaze, the color bleeding into skin. "Why do you do this to yourself?" she asked, softer now. Tasha smiled faintly, gaze shifting to Amara's lips. "Maybe I like the way you look when you try to stop me." Silence pressed in, thick, electric. The air smelled of turpentine and rain-soaked earth. Tasha's hand brushed Amara's wrist, tentative, questioning. Amara caught it out of instinct. Their eyes met. Neither pulled away. "I can't," Amara whispered, her breath uneven. "I'm what?" Tasha murmured, their heated breath now mingling. "I'm what? The line you swore not to cross?" Tasha breathed against her mouth. Amara couldn't hold it anymore. The space between them collapsed, lips claiming each other. It wasn't gentle. It was the sound of something giving way. A collision of principle and hunger, restraint and surrender. Tasha tasted like rebellion. Amara tasted like control unraveling. For a suspended moment, the world fell silent except for breath and heartbeat, and the hum of something dangerous being born. Amara broke the kiss first, trembling. This can't happen." Tasha's smile was soft, defiant. "Then stop me," she whispered. But Amara didn't move. She stood there for a moment longer. The kind of pause that holds everything that can't be undone. Then she took a step back, exhaled a shuddering breath, turned and left. Outside, the night air hit her like judgment. She didn't look back, but she carried the taste of paint, defiance, and sin all the way home. Chapter 8. By morning, the gossip had started. Someone from the raid had reported Amara's interference. Mr. Sabila called her into his office, tone clipped. "I need to know if you've compromised this firm," he said. Amara stood still, mask firmly in place. "No, sir." "Then explain your presence at that artist's studio during a police operation." "I was protecting our client's legal interests," she replied. Sabila's gaze was steady, unkind. "Be careful, Amara. The line between advocacy and involvement is thin. Don't lose sight of which side you're on." Outside his office, her reflection stared back from the glass. Immaculate, poised, hollow. Her phone buzzed. A message from Tasha. "They're painting over the Riverbend mural tonight. Thought you'd want to see the evidence disappear." Amara closed her eyes. For once, she didn't know if either of them were still on the right side. Talk of her bias persisted. The Luyanda board wasn't subtle. Questions about her judgment, her emotional involvement, her failure to secure a plea deal. By Friday, it was official. Sabila read the decision with surgical detachment. "The firm has decided to suspend you indefinitely, pending disciplinary review. The optics of your involvement with the defendant are untenable." "Optics," Amara murmured. "Always the optics." She signed the papers, her hand steady while her pulse wasn't. Outside, the city light was merciless. Then came the text. "You don't have to face them alone. No name." She didn't need one. That night, her apartment felt too quiet, too clean. Every surface a reflection of control she no longer possessed. She made tea she didn't drink, turned off the lights, and stood by the window until the city blurred. When the knock came, she didn't ask how Tasha had found her. She already knew Tasha never asked permission to walk into her silences. Amara opened the door. Tasha stood there, rain-damp, hoodie half unzipped, eyes a storm of concern and something else. "You didn't call," she said softly. "There wasn't much to say," Amara replied. "They've made their decision." Tasha hesitated, stepping closer. "Do you regret it?" Amara exhaled, a sound that wasn't quite laughter. "Yes." Tasha flinched. "I regret how it happened," Amara added. "But not you." Something broke open between them, not with words, but with silence that pulsed. Tasha reached up, fingers brushing Amara's jaw. "Then stop pretending." The kiss was slow and unsteady, like two people remembering how to breathe. Amara tried to pull back, but Tasha followed, patient, insistent. Every wall Amara had built began to tremble. When Tasha's hand slid down her arms, Amara didn't stop her. When she was backed against the counter, her breath hitching against Tasha's mouth, she realized control wasn't a virtue tonight. It was a cage. "Tell me to leave," Tasha whispered. Amara didn't, couldn't. The night unfolded in fragments: heat, breath, surrender. The silk of Amara's blouse falling away like pretense, the quiet hum of the city outside, indifferent to the collapse of reason inside. Tasha's hands, steady but reverent, painting fire across her skin. And Amara, once the unshakable advocate, whispering Tasha's name like confession. Later, tangled in the quiet aftermath, Tasha traced lazy circles on Amara's back. "You don't have to go back to them," she murmured. Amara's eyes opened to the ceiling. That clean, white ceiling she suddenly hated. "It's not that simple." "Nothing worth it ever is," Tasha said. Amara turned, searching her face. "And what if what we are, is a mistake?" Tasha smiled faintly. "Then it's the only one that ever felt right." Epilogue. 6 months later. A small brass nameplate gleamed against a sunlit door in Nairobi's CBD. Amara Kamau and Associates. Legal consultancy. Her first clients weren't corporate giants. They were artists, environmentalists, community leaders, the very people she used to defend against. Sometimes on her way home, she'd detour through Westlands. The mural was still there. Faded, rain-washed but alive. 2 silhouettes, one painted in gold, the other in blue, leaning toward each other. Between them, in defiant red, a single line: "Rules break. Hearts don't have to." That evening, she found Tasha standing before it, hood down, eyes soft. "They'll paint over it eventually," Amara said quietly. Tasha smiled. "Then I'll paint it again." Amara looked at her, the woman who had ruined her order and rebuilt her truth. "Still breaking rules," she said. Tasha's fingers brushed hers. Only the wrong ones. City lights flared to life, painting gold across their faces. And for the first time, Amara didn't look away. Liked this? Every heartbeat in Africa tells a story. Subscribe to feel it.